Hi everyone, and welcome to Glamorous Gems Gourmet Recipe. What's on the menu tonight is shepherd's pie. This is a family favorite, and who doesn't love comfort food on a Sunday night? So I'm going to be walking you through step by step of just what I make when I make my shepherd's pie. It's not something that I make often, but of course, I just love this recipe. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into some of the prep work that I've done so far. So you want to first and foremost preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and you also want to get your water boiling, which I've neglected to do, but you want to go ahead and start boiling your water. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the ingredients that I use. So you want to have some room temperature butter, olive oil. So you want to have cool water or room temperature water here, because once I peel my potatoes, I'm going to go ahead and transfer those into the bowl just to avoid them from oxidizing and turning brown. You just don't want that. So then I have my onion here. I have my potato peeler and knife. And some of the seasonings that I use very basic seasonings for this. I'm going to use some Philadelphia cream cheese, Parmesan cheese, Colby Jack and Monterrey cheese. I have this better than bouillon. I'm going to put this in my water for boiling my potatoes. And I'm also going to make a little roux sauce for my ground turkey that I'm using. And then I have onion garlic powder, salt and pepper. I have my peas and carrots here that are frozen, and I just pull them out. That way they can start to get room temperature. And then I have my ground turkey that I use. So we don't do a lot of ground beef here. We kind of cut out a lot of red meats in our diet. So, we're going to just use ground turkey. But what I will say is another thing that I'm going to add into it is some chives. I got to mention, because I'm about to cut up my potatoes and my onion here, you want to have at least 4 large potatoes. As you can tell, these things are huge. Or at least 6 medium-sized potatoes to cut up. And then I have an onion, but I'm only going to use either a 1/4 to a 1/2 of this onion. I'm not going to use the entire thing. So once I cut up my onion, I just went ahead and did a 1/2 of an onion. It should look just like this, small little tiny little squares like that, just diced up. And then my potatoes, I just did them evenly in little cubes. And then I went ahead and put the rest of the onion in this little onion preserver. It just kind of eliminates smell from your refrigerator, but it also keeps it fresh so it doesn't get all hardened and dry. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my olive oil here, and I'm going to go ahead and just pour some of that into my pan, because I'm going to go ahead and saute up my onions. And I'm going to put this on maybe between 4 and 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my room temperature butter, and I'm going to just cut a tiny little piece of that and put that into the pan as well. This is like essential. Like anytime that I saute up chicken or anything like that, I always do olive oil and butter. It just gives it a different taste, or flavor. I don't really know, but I just love the combination of what it does. So yes, I will come back. I'm going to go ahead and let that warm up, and I'll come back. And in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just stir around my bouillon that I put in this water here, just to evenly distribute that. And I'm going to go ahead and add in my potatoes. So I will be right back. I have the potatoes in here. So I have them on for between 5 and 6. I do it high because I want them to cook fast, but I'm going to actually cook these potatoes until they are as soft as I can possibly get them. And the reason why is because I don't want any clumps in there. I want them to be finely milled, and I just want it to be nice and whipped. So I like to boil them on high and get them nice and soft. So I will be back in just a moment. Alrighty. So yes, I found the spatula. So I'm just going to go ahead and break all of this down so that way I can incorporate all of my seasoning and everything together. I don't know why I have that so far away. Good grief. This is going to take about maybe 10-11 minutes before I can get it all brown. So I will come back once I have it browned. And then my potatoes here are still going. So I'm just gonna stir these, but they're not ready yet. So hopefully the potatoes and the ground turkey will be finished around the same time. So I will be back. So I went ahead and added a little bit of flour and bouillon and some water in here to make a broth for me. And what I did is I added it into here just to kind of thicken and make a little bit of a gravy here. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to add a little bit of ketchup in there just to kind of give it some kind of a sauce, because I just want it to be nice and thick. And I need some Worcestershire sauce here or some browning, but what I'm going to do to just make it get a little bit, give it a little bit of color is I'm going to add some paprika. Paprika doesn't taste like anything, as y'all know, but it's a great way to, color your food. So I have it to the color and the, consistency that I want. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in my frozen peas and carrots. And it's okay to go ahead and add in frozen only because this is still going to bake in the oven. So it's perfectly fine. My potatoes, they should be about done. So I'm going to go ahead and just check the potatoes and see how they're looking. And just as I mentioned, they're starting to get, they're pretty soft. So that's how I want them to look. I don't know if you all can see that, but yeah, they're very soft. Yeah, they're smashing. So I'm going to take these out and I'll be right back to show you how I prep the potatoes. Alrighty, so I've went ahead and drained my potatoes. So now I'm going to go ahead and get these seasoned and get them prepared. So I'm going to take that room temperature butter here that I have, and I'll probably take 1/4 of that and put that in there. Okay. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is start seasoning. So I'm going to add in some black pepper. And I'm just literally seasoning to taste. So I'll try to figure out the measurements for it in a little bit. And I can just add them in the description box below. But yes, what I'm going to do is just season. I have my onion powder here, black pepper and butter so far. I have my garlic powder that I'm adding in. Come on, lady. And then I have my sea salt, and I'm not going to go too heavy with the sea salt here, but I have sea salt there because it's very thick, as you can tell. I have my chives. I'm gonna put these in if I can get it open. And chives gives it a nice taste, but I just love to garnish my potatoes with chives, or you can always use parsley, and parsley is generally my go-to, but since I have chives, I'm gonna add those in, and it does really give it a nice flavor and taste, so I will say that. I'm gonna add in my Parmesan cheese. And I'm going to add in 1/4 of my Philadelphia cream cheese. Give me just a moment to cut that up. So for the Philadelphia cream cheese, for that size of potatoes, I'm just gonna cut that amount that you can see right there. And okay. And this is the consistency that you want the mashed potatoes to be. So they're nice and whipped. You can add more seasoning to your taste. I did about 1/4 cup of milk, but I prefer the Carnation milk because it's just a little bit, it just gives it a better texture to me and taste. But yes, it's seasoned to perfection to my liking. So now I'm going to go ahead and put everything together. So I will show you how everything looks once I'm done. So I've went ahead and laid everything in the bottom of the pan, and you just want to make it as smooth as possible on the bottom. So it's really like a lasagna, just with meat and potatoes versus pasta and meat. So you want to lay it nice and flat, just like that. You can butter your pan if you need to, but you know, I didn't do that. It's just not necessary. It's a matter of preference. So I'm just going to get it nice and flat as I possibly can. Okay. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is layer my potato on top. So give me just a second. So I like to pile my potato up in a ball and then spread it downward, because you don't want to have the meat intermingled. I don't know if that's the right word, but you don't want the meat to be showing on the top of the potatoes. So I just layer it down and spread it out. So just like as if you were rolling a pie crust. Goodness, you see what I mean? I don't want that to happen. So I may need to use a spatula. Give me just a second. Yeah, I'll use a flat spatula like this. So you just want to spread it out just like that. Just like that. Now, a lot of people, when they make a shepherd's pie, they go ahead and they don't really put the cheese on top. They take a fork and they make like those little lines with the fork. I don't like doing that. You know, I mean, if I'm gonna have a comfort food like meat and potatoes, it's gonna have cheese on top. So I'm just smashing this down. Yeah, so I'm just gonna garnish it with parsley. And that's really all you need. Throw it in the oven and I will show you how it looks once it's done. And this is the finished product of my shepherd's pie. Some of the gravy from the meat actually rose to the top, but that's going to be perfect. It's just going to really indulge in the potato. So yes, I'm going to let this sit for about maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and then it's good and ready to eat. So thank you all so much for tuning into this video. I'm going to be posting 2 videos per week, just on recipes that I make, because I really do enjoy cooking. So you'll probably see cooking, baking, just a bunch of different food videos. And definitely subscribe to my channel. I'd love to, you know, bring you all along with me on my cooking journey. And this is how it looks once I cut it up. So I just wanted to show you all the finished product